What's up, guys? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. We have a lot to talk about today. Jared Kelenic nearly hit a baseball 500 feet. Is the breakout finally happening right before our very own eyes? Max Muncy, he showed yet again why he is the Giants' actual father. Like, it's science at this point. He is the biological father of the San Francisco Giants. Juan Soto, he crushed a baseball that has still not landed yet. And speaking of crushing baseballs, we know that Bryce Harper crushes baseballs in his free time. Well, now it's being reported that he is going to change positions for the 2023 season so he can get back sooner. So we'll talk about that later on. Remember, guys, if you're going to any baseball games or concerts anytime soon, use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save yourself 20 bucks off. And also, if you guys have not subscribed, we do this every single day, so don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button. All right, let's go ahead and kickstart the recaps with a walk-off from yesterday. But the Blue Jays, we're going to have to work for this one because Nick Maton has a home run in back-to-back games. Toronto, they evened it up for Kevin Gausman in the very next frame, and it stayed that way for a while as Erod, Eduardo Rodriguez of the Tigers. I haven't really heard a lot about him since he signed with the Tigers last year, but he was dotting up the Blue Jays left and right. 1 earned run over 6 innings. Gausman, he was cruising as well until the super underrated Kerry Carpenter, he blasted off. This kid has 7 home runs and an almost 130 OPS plus in his first 39 games. The Tigers would be stupid not to keep on playing him. Toronto, they kept Gausman in for the 8th, and he ended up with 11 strikeouts on the day, but he is in major need of a comeback to avoid taking the L. Okay, there's 1 run on a sac fly, so they just need 1 more, and Alejandro Kirk, he steps in with a pinch hit sac fly to tie it up. Now, the Jays, they tied up on MLB's second worst bullpen in all of baseball. The Tigers and the White Sox, right now, they are ranked as the worst bullpens. They actually ended up walking it off on a George Springer single. Detroit is now 2-9, and basically their season is over before it's really even begun. Hey, Braves fans, I have a question for you. Are you okay? Because every single game in this series versus the Reds has been won by a single run. This was easily one of the most back and forth games of the season. Spencer Strider, he would give up a few, and then Hunter Green would match that. They both throw 1 billion miles an hour, so this was actually a lot of fun to watch. I was watching this live. 19 strikeouts between the both of them. Ronald Acuna Jr. and Sean Murphy, they were all of the offense for the first 7 innings. And can I just mention that Ronald is hitting .370 with 6 stolen bases? All the haters that were talking smack about him last year, where you at? Because he has been a monster this year. Now, speaking of haters, we know that Eddie Rosario has not been the best since he had that magical postseason run, so he's actually garnered quite a few haters. A lot of people want to see both him and Marcell Ozuna off the team, but he had a clutch home run, so maybe he should only hit when a clutch home run is needed. AJ Minter, he closed it out for his 2nd save, and hopefully Braves fans, they can get a blowout win here soon. Another close game, and this was fun because the Rays are trying to improve to 12-0, but they were going to have to work for it in this one. Taj Bradley, he made his major league debut, but we'll talk about him in a second. Chris Sale, he is not the same guy anymore, it seems like, and that makes me really sad because I want Chris Sale to be in the Hall of Fame. Randy Arozarena, he is still showing that he is in fact him. 15 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 3 home runs. Randy, by the way, has a career 132 OPS plus, but people on Twitter back in the day told me he was terrible and was getting lucky because he was outperforming his ex-WOBA. Sometimes the eye test is all you need. Anyways, less being petty, more Wander Franco being good at baseball. He's almost hitting .350 with 4 home runs and 3 stolen bases with 12 RBIs already on the season. The Rays, they got all the way up to 8 runs before the 7th, which almost wasn't enough as Rafael Devers made it a 1-run game on that 3-run home run. Tampa Bay, they end up winning 9-7 after Randy Arozarena had a big day, 4 RBIs. Pete Fairbanks is finally getting some opportunities as a closer because that was not a blowout win. And real quick, before we talk about the next game, Taj Bradley, he gave up 3 runs in his first 5 innings, but he struck out 5. He looks pretty nasty. The Rays are sending him back down, so he'll be back. So that game wasn't a blowout. This game was. The Astros and the Pirates, Jose Abreu's 3rd inning RBI double was all that Jose Urquidy needed, but his offense, yeah, they got greedy. Corey Julks, I think that's how you say his name, after hitting 31 home runs with 22 stolen bases in AAA last year, he jolted that pitch for his first career home run. Good for him. And like I said, Jose Urquidy, he only needed that single run because he was on top of his game. He threw 6 shutout innings with 2 base hits, and we talked about in yesterday's recap how Matt Chapman is trying to get back into the top 3 third baseman conversation. So is Alex Bregman. He's only hitting 196 on the season, but he still has a .340 on base percentage after that 3-run home run, and that's because he has one of the best eyes that I've seen in quite some time. That's what makes Bregman special, just getting on base even when he's not putting the ball in play. Houston, they went easy 7-0. So the last time I talked about Brad Keller, I hinted at the fact that he was probably going to be awful in the next start. Well, both him and the Royals gave me the middle finger, like shoved it in my face, because Keller, he did not get rocked. Instead, the Texas Rangers got rocked. Nathan Eovaldi, he was terrible. MJ Melendez, he had hit a 2-run double, and Vinny, the Italian nightmare Pasquantino, he hit a home run right before MJ came away with his 3rd RBI in the first 4 innings. And even though Bobby Witt Jr. did not homer or anything like that, this was his best game of the year in my opinion. He collected 3 base hits and 2 stolen bases, so he now has 22 home runs and 35 stolen bases in his first 163 big league games. He is special. Brad Keller tossed a gem. Of course he did, because I talked smack about him. 1 run, 7 strikeouts. He has a 2.12 ERA over his first 3 starts. Kansas City, they ripped down the gates yet again in the 7th. They scored some more, and they came away with their first double-digit run performance of the year. The Dodgers and the Giants, we kind of hinted at Max Muncy. We'll get to him in just a quick second, but James Outman, he slowed down a little bit since his red-hot start, but there he is with an RBI single. Mookie Betts, he brought it back to within a 1-run game after Kershaw kind of got lit up in the first few innings. Max Muncy, you are the father. Another home run against the Giants. Wait for it. He is not done just yet. Freddie Freeman worked a 15 to 16 pitch bases loaded walk. I can't imagine how tired both he and the pitcher was because of the new pitch clock. They were just throwing pitch after pitch after pitch. In steps Max Muncy after a sac fly from Will Smith. And yeah, just like Thanos, this was inevitable. 25 home runs in 75 career games versus the Giants. He is, in fact, their biological father. That 5-run explosion gave Kershaw the lead. It was a little bit scary at first, but he and the Dodgers got the W, and Trace Thompson, just for fun, hit a 2-run home run. Again, just for fun, because he wanted to. I forgot to show this clip, but Taylor Rogers was so bad, he walked 4 hitters in a row against the Dodgers that he took his glove and threw it away. He literally thought that he was trash. The Twins and the White Sox, I needed the White Sox to pick up this W, but at this point, I just kind of feel bad for Lucas Giolito, because even when he turns in a solid performance, he has to go up against the Twins and Sonny Gray, but this was not just normal Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray had flu-like symptoms, so he had a chance to prove himself like MJ back in the day in a flu game, and wow, he was special. Sonny went 5 scoreless with 5 strikeouts. He has a 0.53 ERA over his first 3 starts. I feel like he's been really good for quite some time, ever since his days on the A's. He was taken out after 78 pitches because he was gassed. Lucas Giolito, 1 run, 7 strikeouts, but ultimately it meant nothing as Minnesota ended up with 3 runs. Johan Duran, he came in the final inning. He's looked a little bit shaky in terms of the home run ball. He gave up 1 to Luis Robert Jr., that one to Lennon Sosa, but either way, yeah, the Twins are 8-4 on the season. The Yankees and the Guardians, Aaron Boone got ejected early in this one, and because of that, the Guardians were able to jump out to an early lead off of Clark Schmidt, who has not been good to begin his career, at least in my opinion. Cleveland, they grabbed 3 runs early after that interesting replay call, and maybe the baseball gods decided that's enough of favoring Cleveland, because the baseball gods, that's all that they do, is they give Cleveland some of the weirdest runs I've ever seen. Kyle Higashioka nearly missed a 3-run home run. He ended up with a 2-run double after Andres had a 360 no-scope off of the top thing of rust straight to the umpire's dome. Now, he's okay, so I don't mind showing that, but yeah, Andres, be a little bit more careful, my guy. What the heck was that? The Yankees have found their next Babe Ruth, Franchy Cordero. They call him Crunchy Cordero. 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, and 25 at-bats. I don't think it's going to last, but good for him. He ties it at 3 runs apiece. New York, they scored 2 off of Cleveland's best arms, Trevor Stephan, and that RBI from Oswaldo Cabrera off of Emmanuel Clase. Holmes was kind of scary in the final inning, but he came away with his 4th save. The Yankees, they steal that series from the Guardians. Juan Soto hit a baseball nearly a quarter mile. Like, I know Juan Soto has not been his fullest Juan Soto self with the Padres, at least in terms of the batting average, but he's still so good at hitting home runs and getting on base. Tyler McGill, he settled in after that bomb to Soto, and the Mets offense started chipping away at Blake Snell. Nimmo, he smacked a lefty-lefty RBI double, and Lindor, he's always been a monster against lefties. That's his 2nd home run of the year, which is now 4 less than Big Meat. Oh, that's not his nickname anymore. Polar Bear Pete. Pete Alonso has 6 home runs in his first 13 games. He has a slugging percentage of .650. For reference, Aaron Judge last year had a .686 slugging, so Pete Alonso has been an absolute beast. Nimmo and Pham, they extend the lead even more, and the New York Pen, they've been pretty good even without Sugar Edwin Diaz. Especially David Robertson and Mr. Adam Ottavino, they have looked very impressive to begin the season. The Mariners and the Cubs, Seattle went down early, but after a few singles from Eugenio Suarez and Teoscar Hernandez, Seattle, they took control. Logan Gilbert was able to resist any sort of comeback from the Chicago Cubs. He got 1 more run of support from Ty France in the 7th. Logan, he left after 7 strikeouts, allowed 1 earned run. Teoscar and Kelenic, they both launched some long home runs, but Teoscar, he was beaten pretty bad by Jared's 482 feet. That was the longest home run at Wrigley Field in StatCast history. Jared is now hitting 351 with 3 home runs and 2 stolen bases. The long-awaited breakout of Jared Kelenic might finally be happening. I just don't want to jinx the guy, so I'm going to go in and knock on wood. Bellinger, he tried to rally the troops on his second home run of the year, but Paul Sewald, just like Johan Duran, got into some trouble, but he had a short memory, and he got the save. So Jared Kelenic is finally raking, and one other young guy that we always kind of link to Jared Kelenic, both because they were highly touted and struggling, Joe Adell. I just want to mention that Joe Adell now has 8 home runs in 11 games to begin the AAA season. This dude is the single greatest 4A player of all time. A 4A player is someone that's too good for AAA, but not good enough for MLB. So where do we rank Joe Adell amongst the greatest 4A players ever? Both him and Keston Hiura are literal gods in AAA. The Angels and the Nationals. This was one of the most baseball games of the season. Yeah, this was a baseball game for sure. Not too much happened aside from Brett Phillips causing some mayhem with a bases loaded walk in the 4th inning, and then he saves it later. I don't know if that would have been a home run, but we know that he is special defensively. He's a fantastic defender, athlete, but a terrible hitter in my opinion. You know who is not a terrible hitter? Logan O'Hoppe. His RBI single in the 6th inning wins it for the Angels, which is crazy because if he had a go-ahead RBI in the 6th, that means that the bullpen for the Angels had to throw 3 scoreless, and they actually did it. Well, actually it was 4 because Matt Moore came in for the 6th inning. So the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, the Angels bullpen stepped up. They only allowed 1 base hit as Jose Quijada, he grabbed his 2nd save of the year. So shout out to the Angels for just barely beating the Nationals a few times. The Cardinals and the Rockies. If you're a Rockies fan, please cover your eyes and ears. Tyler O'Neill is back to playing pretty much every single day. That ball traveled 461 feet, an absolute moonshot, his 2nd of the year. Arenado, man, this is just so mean. He is bullying his former team. 6 RBIs in 2 games versus the Rockies this year after that 2-run tater. Flaherty, he finally didn't walk anyone. Jack, he looked as sharp as ever. 6 strikeouts in just under 6 innings. And as soon as the Cardinals took him out, the Rockies started licking their chops. They got hungry. They tied the game at 4 runs apiece. And Nolan did it again. No, not Nolan Arenado. Nolan Gorman. 4 home runs, 10 RBIs while hitting .313 on the season. Goldie had a double later on to make it a 7-4 ball game, and Ryan Helsley, this guy is so underrated, so nasty. 2 strikeouts in his save. So this game annoyed me very much, so we'll talk about that in just a second. Zach Wheeler and Edward Cabrera, they faced off, and they were not in the business of giving up very many runs yesterday. They allowed just 1 earned run each over 5. Scratch that, make it 2 earned runs for Edward Cabrera after Bryson Stott made it a 2 spot, giving him a 12-game hitting streak. I'm gonna knock on wood. Also, I completely forgot to mention that in the Cardinals game, not only did they win, but Jordan Walker in the final inning, he grabbed a base hit, which now gives him a 12-game hitting streak. So both him and Bryson, 2 young guys, that's a pretty good hitting streak. Wheeler, he thanked his buddy and threw up another 0 in the 6th inning, and now it's time for Jose Alvarado to try and get a few outs. I said outs, not hit the ball out. Jorge Soler. I had the Phillies in a 3-team parlay. It was like I was watching Obi-Wan versus Anakin, and the Phillies were Anakin. Like, you guys were the chosen one, and you completely screwed it. You got your arm and legs freaking cut off. This one had to go to extras where AJ Puck decimated the Phillies lineup after Brian De La Cruz singled in the go-ahead run. That one cost me money. That was really upsetting. Now, before we talk about the Diamondbacks game and Corbin Carroll, I do want to give an update on Bryce Harper. So we know that he's back in the cages. He is hitting prodigious batting cage home runs, so he is ready to get back into the batter's box. The only thing that they're worried about is him sliding into second or anything like that, so he's not ready just yet. But to try and get him back onto the field sooner, he is taking reps at first base. Yes, Rhys Hoskins, we know that he's out with an ACL tear. Bryce Harper, he's out with the UCL tear, but it's almost fixed. He's almost ready to go, and they want him to play first base, which makes a lot of sense. Get him back on the field, get him back in the lineup because the Phillies, they need him. The Diamondbacks and the Brewers. Arizona, they went up early on an RBI ground out from Christian Walker, and that should make Snakes fans very, very happy. Dalton Varsho has been a beast for the Blue Jays, so they need Lourdes Gurriel Jr. to really step up offensively. There he is with his first home run, and I don't know what's happening with Dre Jameson. He's been so good. I just don't know if he's a starter or a bullpen guy, a long reliever. I don't know what he's doing, but over his first, let's just say 40 big league innings since last year, he has a 1.47 ERA and an almost 9 strikeouts per 9. I guess they're just loosening up his arm. I don't know what they're doing. Anyways, Josh Rojas, he doubled in Arizona's 5th and final run. Just kidding. I wanted to tease Diamondbacks fans real quick. How could I not show this? Corbin Carroll now has 3 home runs and 5 stolen bases in his first 13 games of 2023. Not many players in Major League Baseball history have ever done that. The Diamondbacks are 1st in doubles, 2nd in stolen bases, 9th in runs scored. Yeah, their offense is legit. I was was today years old when I found out that Brent Roker was an Oakland Athletic. Oakland truly is the real-life version of Misfit Island from the Christmas classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. They had 2 more sac flies in the 7th to make it a 6 spot, who quickly turned it into an 8 spot. And as Esteury Ruiz, he was back in there. I think he had a pinch hit, RBI or something like that. He has a .333 on base percentage and 2 stolen bases. He could be a 50 stolen base guy if he keeps getting on base. So the A's beat the Orioles 8-4, and that does it for today's recap. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. We do this every single day. Use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save yourself 20 bucks off, and click this button right here with the F on it to subscribe to my gaming channel, because we post MLB The Show almost every day. See you there.